Okay, thank you for having me. A little background on the whole story and why I'm here, why Marcel invited me here is my senior year of high school. Liz Johnson, who's here also, she sent me a message on Facebook Messenger, and she said that her daughter Shy, who's 2 years younger than me and she has special needs, was getting picked on at school, and she was getting trash thrown at her, and she was having a hard time. Just coming home crying.
Okay.
And
I didn't know I was gonna
find out the names of the
maybe.
kids who were doing this, and I was like, sure, yeah, I can do that. And so the next day, we saw Shy next to our lunch table, and we told her come over and like, hey, who are these kids? What's going on? And she wouldn't give us the name. She refused. And I'm like, all right. And so we invited her to sit with us at our lunch table, and she sat with us every day after that. We hung out with her in the courtyards.
Can you hear it,
Hung out
Ron?
with her after school, invited her to our homes, went to parties with her, and just became really good friends. And she wasn't bullied after that. And I was the quarterback of the football team at the time, and the football team kind of rallied around her, and she loved it, and we loved it, and she was very happy. And she called us her boys, and she has all nicknames too. I was Mr. Carson Jones, wasn't much of a nickname. There's Rat Head, Ha Ha. There's just a lot of funny nicknames that gives us, and she'll tell you probably when she speaks. But there's just a special bond there. And we went on to have an undefeated season and won state that year, and Shy was a part of every bit of it. But in the middle of the season, some local news people heard about this and they wrote a story about it, and from there it just blew up. And a lot of news organizations would call us, we do a lot of interviews, we went and spoke at a bunch of different schools. Nickelodeon called us, they flew out and filmed us. ESPN came out and filmed us. Rick Riley did an interview with us, he's an awesome dude. And People Magazine called us, even Women's World called me, and I was like, I'm not a woman, but I'll do it, I'll give you the interview. But there's just a lot of different people who give us interviews, and it's just a wild ride. We get hundreds of letters sent to our school. I got thousands of messages sent to me on Facebook Messenger from all over the world, from Germany, Korea, South Africa, just from all types of people. Kids who are being bullied, who read the story and said, "Hey, I'm being bullied. I saw your story and it gave me hope." And parents who would see it and they'd say, "Hey, I saw the story, and I hope my kids can go to school like that." And then we got messages from bullies themselves who say, "Hey, I've been picking on some kids and saw the story and I just don't want to do that anymore." And it's a very humbling experience because I didn't always treat people very nice, and I wish I did. And it's kind of a good example of what happens when you decide to make that choice. And I want to tell you a little story about Shy so you kind of know who she is. One day I was driving to school, and on my way to school, a car pulled out in front of me, and I crashed into it and it totaled both the cars. Luckily, everyone was fine, and I went to school that same day. And after school, I was standing there with my backpack on, talking to my friends, and Shy came running up to me, and she would wear this huge backpack. It would hang super low on her back, and every time she ran, it would hit her back. It looked like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She had like bricks in it or cement, and it was just super heavy. And she came running, and it was like, and she's like, "Carson, Mr. Jones." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" She's like, "Let me carry your backpack." I'm like, "How come?" She's like, "You're sore from your accident. Let me carry your backpack." And I'm like, "Holy cow." Here she is with a 1,000-pound backpack, and she wants to carry mine. And so I'm like, "All right, here you go." No, I didn't do that. I didn't give her my backpack, but she's very persistent. But I didn't let her take it. But I think the important principle from that is that no matter what you're going through, what kind of burden you have, you can still help other people. And that's something Shy taught me. I would never learn that from Shy if I wasn't her friend. And so that's just the type of girl Shy is, and you'll learn about that as she comes up here and talks. But today I want to talk about two things, and I'm going to talk about bullying because that's just what I'm involved with right now. And first thing I want to talk about, I want to mention a story from a book. It's called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Jordan Peterson. In this book, he talks extensively about the life of lobsters. And this is relevant, so bear with me. But lobsters are very territorial. Territory means everything to them. They've been around for about 350 million years, so this is nothing new to them. They've been doing this for quite a while. Occasionally, lobsters will come into contact with other lobsters, and a territorial battle will happen. And so what these lobsters do is they flex their claws, and they try and make themselves look bigger. And they try and intimidate the other lobster. And they almost do like a dance battle. And it's pretty funny to watch, but whether you know it or not, you guys do these similar battles every day. Some of you may even dance like lobsters. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in high school. But these lobsters will also shoot liquid from their eyes, too, at the other lobster. And in that liquid, it'll tell them the health and the mood of that lobster. And which is incredible. It's pretty fascinating. You should be more fascinated about this, too, because can you imagine if humans did that? That would be like, all right, let's do it. First, let me tell you how I feel. Spit him in the eye. Liz is dying laughing over there. Anyways, these lobsters, they would lose. The lobsters that would lose these intimidation battles, they would go on to lose every single one after that. They would become dejected. Their serotonin levels would go down, and they wouldn't flex their claws anymore. They just look defeated, and so they become targets of bullying, and they get picked on. They wouldn't get any mates. They wouldn't get any territory. And so it's the same as us today. I think if you want to get picked on less, if you feel defeated, don't look defeated. You have to stand up, have good posture, and face the day with courage, and you'll be treated like a victor. I think if you look like a victor, you'll be treated as such, and the science backs that up. And so you have to stand up straight, and you have to present yourself better than you do. So that's the first principle. I think it sounds silly, but it's a real thing. The second thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of taking a risk here, but how many of you know what a GIF is? A GIF, anyone? Like the little videos you send to each other? You're all in high school. I know you know what it is. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was my next question. Who pronounces it GIF? Anyone? Who pronounces it GIF? Right. Okay, well, if you pronounce it GIF, you can go ahead and leave. That's the wrong way to say it, but I'm just kidding. The purpose of me bringing this up is because I made a joke at someone's expense. It's a silly joke, but I've now painted a target on the back of everybody who says it differently from me. And as silly as it seems, it happens every day for you guys, that you make jokes at people's expense. And so that's what I want to talk about is expense and giving back to people. And so I hope that anyone who says it differently from me, you don't care how you say it, you keep going and keep doing it how you say it. Don't care what anyone else thinks. And it's that kind of language that hopefully gives you the courage and the strength to keep going despite my silly jokes about it. But it's that language and those jokes that happen all the time, no matter how subtle they are. And so, to piggyback on that, I want to tell you a story about, it's written by Arthur C. Brooks. It's called Why Giving Matters. In this story, he mentions how entrepreneurs, they say that they're so wealthy and so well off because they gave. In fact, John D. Rockefeller, anyone ever heard of him? John D. Rockefeller? Yeah, he's like the richest man ever. In today's money, he'd be worth $350 billion, like richest man ever. He claimed that he was as wealthy as he was because he gave. Not because he had first and then gave, but because he gave. And so Arthur Brooks, the author of this, he thought that was impossible. He was an economist. He's like, there's no way. You have to have first before you give. And but he decided to test it out and do some research on it. So he went and interviewed 30,000 families from all different kinds of communities. And he found some very interesting data. What he found was if you had two identical families, same gender, same race, same amount of kids, same education, and you had these two identical families, but one family gave $100 more than the non-giving family. That giving family would earn $375 more in income compared to the non-giving family. And that was directly attributable to the gift. And so I'm going to kind of explain that again. Two identical families, except one family gives $100 more than the other non-giving family. They would earn, on average, $375 more in income than the non-giving family. And it was directly because of the gift that they gave. And so what do we learn from this? Is that people who give, they're less stressful, they're more happy, and they prosper. And so what does this have to do with bullying? Everything. Arthur Brooks even found that the same people experienced the same success when they volunteered and when they did other charitable acts. And it's the same if we give people our time, give people our kind words, and give people a good friend. Not only will you be happier, you'll be less stressful, but you'll prosper. And so now you think back of people who make jokes at other people's expense, those people are more stressful. They're less happy, and they do not prosper. So if you find yourself making jokes and doing things at other people's expense, you will live a loser life. Those are not the type of people that are successful. Consider those kids at Blue Ridge. Everyone's probably heard that story, right? If you haven't heard it yet, a few kids lured another kid and beat him up so bad he had to get jaw surgery. Those kids did not have a giving attitude, right? It was take, take, take. It was not give, give, give. And the givers are the people you want to be around. Consider your sports that you're in right now. You give so much to it. You give so much time, effort, and uncomfortableness. And I think that's a big one, is you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation every day when you're at practice. And that's because you want to reap the benefits from it. And I think the camaraderie and the benefits from it are beyond what you can even see right now. But a lot of times we quit when it comes to giving to people. Why do we do that? Why do we quit when we see some other kids getting picked on and made fun of? Why do we quit and follow the charisma of the bully? Why do we quit and just say nothing and do nothing? And we know now from the data that giving helps us and it helps me as well. I think you guys are not quitters. I think you should welcome the uncomfortableness now. I think every day when you wake up in the morning, you should prepare for it and look for it. When the opportunity happens, you should be ready for it. You should do something about it. And that's what leaders do, and you guys are leaders. And there's opportunities every day. I've been in high school. And so you got to step up, put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, and make something happen. That's what givers and leaders do. And so those two things are the things I kind of want to talk about today. Is one that's you got to stand up straight and present yourself as a victor. You cannot cower. Consider your sports, right? If you look defeated, your opponent's going to jump on that, and they're going to put you down. You might do it to your own opponents as well. But if you present yourself as a victor, as someone who's not better than anyone else, but someone that's going to defend themselves, you'll find that you'll be treated differently, and you'll find that your attitude and your mood will follow. That's number one. And number two is don't do things at people's expense. As I mentioned before, that those people lead a loser life. They're not prosperous. They aren't happy, and they're more stressful. But if you give people your time, give people kind words, and give people good friends, you'll find that you prosper and you get a lifelong friend. And my final point is that you never know what people are going through. You never do. My parents and I just got divorced. A death in the family. They're just not good at social situations. And so you got to treat them with kindness, and you'll gain a lifelong friend. Shai's been my friend for quite a while now. Every single morning, like clockwork, she sends me 3 messages, 3 gifts. And they're usually of cats, every time. Because every morning, she sends it to me and Tucker, my buddy who's with it, part of this as well. And then every Monday, she sends me a gift on how much Mondays suck. But then she sends me a Friday one about how great Fridays are. And so, I love it. It's great. tells me that she's thinking about me all the time, and I'm grateful for a friend like that. And it kind of makes me sad about all the friendships I might have missed out on because I wasn't more of a giver. And I promise you, if you decide to make that change, put yourself in uncomfortable situations to do good, you'll reap the benefits. Thank you for having me tonight. And Shai has prepared a little bit of speech as well.
Alright, you guys, hello. My name is Joyce Johnson from Queen Creek, Arizona. It's church, a huge honor to be here today. My mom and my dad were told me by some doctor that I would not live past 2 weeks old, but as you can see, I did. I am now 25 years old. They were also told you would never or walk. Yeah, blew that out of the water for them. My mom and dad call me their miracle, but most days I'm just a pain in the rear. No, not true. They love me more than anything and will do anything I need. They are ready, can walk or talk, and be here today. I want to tell you my story. You may have seen or heard about it because it made the news around in the world, just not here, the USA. I was bullied in my sophomore year, high school. I was calling bad names like the R word, and I had trash thrown at me. I was very sad. Went to school anymore, so my mom emailed Mr. Carson Jones. Went and asked him help. He was starting quarterback of the football team. He was talking to Tucker, and Tucker Workman Tucker came to me at lunch and asked me to eat with them. Other football players, life changed after that. I ate lunch with them every day. They kept me safe. They would even take a turn walking to me class and at the football game. They would win the goal on the field. They left me on their shoulder, and we would do the bulldog chant. 1, 2, 3, bulldog. Did you know I'm famous and now because of what they did for me? I have been a lot of news stations like ESPN, Next News, People Magazine, and many more. I can call them and they call me their lucky girl. You see, when in seeing the whole scene, and they won the state football camp. Even got to be down on the field at the state game at ASU. It was first time our school has ever won the state champion. My voice it is because I'm their lucky girl. I think it's it is because they love me and stood up for me. My boys came to watch me cheer me at the special event. We had a lot of fun, always have fun when I'm with them. Carson has helped the school out in the past with a special event. Year ago, he might not have stood up for me. He told me would have anyway because he loved me. I think that if more school got involved with a special event, maybe more kids would be nice to kids like me. Maybe they won't go home crying because people are mean to them like I did. Please remember that a simple or smile can make someone day better. Went to show everyone begin bullying does not always have to end that way. What happened to me ended because I'm not victim. I'm survived. Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming. Thanks, Carson and Shy. I didn't know Shy was coming, so that was a special surprise. One thing that I want to point out is that Carson and his friends didn't choose to help Shy because of all the accolades that came afterwards. They had no idea that they were going to get to do all the TV shows and all the interviews and go to BYU for, there was a big group of boys, so it wasn't just Carson, there was a bunch of boys, but they had no idea what the aftermath effects of serving and being kind to Shy was. It ended up being kind of pretty cool. But the reality is they did it because it was the right thing to do and because they were nice. Imagine the effect that you guys can have at Round Valley High School by just being nice and smiling and inviting people to join your group, inviting them to go to lunch with you. We have a little different situation because most everybody leaves for lunch. But, if you see somebody walking, stop and ask them if they need a ride. There's so much that we can do for positive impact here at Round Valley. We can make this school the glowing example on the White Mountains of what a good, caring school can be. And this is my granddaughter, Piper. She wants to say hi.
Hi, Piper.
You say hi.
Hi. Expect to win.
All right. That's our goal this year, to expect to win. And as we give and give and give, that's winning, okay? Sometimes the scoreboard doesn't show a victory, but if we leave everything on the field, we're good citizens, we're good people, we're kind, we don't use language that we shouldn't, we build people up, that's winning, okay? That's what winning is. Then we become what we know we ought to be. So let's give one more round of applause to Carson and Shy. So thank you for all your service. The volleyball team has provided cookies and ice cream. So I need to run to my car and get the bowls and the spoons real quick. But then we'll slowly gravitate up there.